This is a big challenge for everyone working remotely, and we know that it's from all aspects of it is actually a challenge. For example, you have to have a remote access environment in place for users to work, or you have to have the infrastructure for them to work as well. But most importantly is the security side of things, and that's across the entire domain. For example, security for your company data, ensuring that all data, all emails, documents, everything that you have are protected against viruses, ransomware, and such attacks. Security for your users' identity, protection against phishing and impersonations, or your endpoint devices, which is very important as well, especially in this situation, they're going to work remotely from other places than the office. And lastly, the cloud apps, the cloud applications that your company has in the cloud. So the good thing is Microsoft has a great solution for us here. And that's actually the family of products called Defender. They have advanced threat protection capabilities, or what is called ATP, which basically it means it means that it has protection. It can protect you against sophisticated attacks. That's basically what it means. They use many different methods like machine learning, AI, or user behavior analytics, and many others to identify threats and rectify them. There are multiple products in this category, which are, first one is the Defender for Office 365. It used to be called Office 365 ATP in the past. This covers your data in Office 365, like email, SharePoint, OneDrive data, or Teams, providing all sorts of different threat protections like anti-malware, anti-phishing, anti-spam, safe attachments, and so on. So the next one in the row is the Microsoft Defender for Identity, or it used to be called Azure ATP in the past. It has what is called adaptive intelligence. It will monitor activities and identify suspicious behavior and anomalies and takes proper action as it's configured by you. We have another product which we are going to look at that with further details is Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, or used to be called Defender ATP. As the name suggests, it is an endpoint security tool to be used for your workstations or laptops, and I'll provide you more details on that shortly. And lastly, that's the Cloud App Security, or MCAS. This is also a CASB solution from Microsoft, and I will show you more details on that as well. But you can see that each of these security domains that we have actually a tool from Microsoft providing us protection for that area. So, but I will be actually, you can choose these products and deploy separately depending on your needs in your environment. You may already have some other systems in place doing similar job in some areas, but one important factor to consider is that all these can be integrated together, allowing you to manage them centrally and see threats and issues in one single portal. That provides much more visibility around the nature of issues, because many threats are they have correlation, or even one may be even causing another one. So you won't be able to easily identify that if you are using a mix and match of different products. For example, if you have Symantec doing your mail filtering somewhere, and you have Trend Macro antivirus doing your antivirus thing, then you will have to jump from one system to another for the management and looking at the investigation, efforts. And then you will be missing out on the interconnectivity between these alerts. So about Defender for Endpoint, first of all, what it is, it's a comprehensive endpoint security solution. It's cloud-based, so it's not really important if your endpoints are working in the office or remotely at home. This is in particular, very important for our subject today, because usually organizations have some level of protection in their office network, such as firewall or UTM device or so on. But users are less protected when they are taking their laptop or their workstation to work from home. With this product, they can get same level of protection, whether they are in the office or externally, working externally. And because it's cloud-based, you can manage them centrally from a single portal externally as well. So it's not relying on any, like a server on your prem or anything like that. Also, it is cross-platform. It supports all major platforms like Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS, Android, and even within these platforms, it supports wide range of build versions. For example, this Windows here, it supports anything from Windows 7 Service Pack 1 up to Windows 8, 10. And you can also add your servers into it, and it supports anything from Server 2008 R2 and above. But what it can do actually for you, that it can discover vulnerabilities, kind of an ongoing audit, let's call it, on your environment, identifying the issues and advising you how to remediate those issues. I will get to that shortly. And obviously, it can identify and block complex and advanced attacks, and also it can provide investigation and remediation on the incidents and make decisions in real time. So let me show you some of these in action now. That makes more sense if you actually see them, how they work. So here is the portal, securitycenter.windows.com. This is where everything begins for Defender Endpoint. Once you enroll all of your devices, you can see them all here in the device inventory. You can, and sorry for my slow internet speed, but you can see them all here. You have a list of all the device names and the risk associated with them. I will just go through what they are shortly, and exactly if there is any active alert on those ones for any incident. But before going to those details, let me first show you this great section here, which is called Threat and Vulnerability Management. We call it TVM. Here you can basically see a dashboard of all threats and misconfiguration and issues in your environment. For example, this exposure score here shows you shows exactly how your endpoints and applications are exposed, and how they have changed, how their exposure level changed over time. And when I say exposed, I mean if there is known vulnerability associated with those specific application or devices. You can reduce your exposure score by addressing what needs to be fixed. But how you're going to know what has to be fixed? Well, that's easy, because everything is here for you, mentioned in the security recommendations. So we can see a list of all the identified issues by the system for you. Let's just look at some of them. For example, here we have update WinRAR to version 591. So if we click on that, we can see that, okay, so this is picked up as a remediation requirement, and it shows you exactly what CVEs are associated with that. CVEs are basically the common vulnerabilities which are identified. If you want to know exact detail, you can just click on them and it will tell you what exactly has been identified, which is identified as CVE. But basically, it tells you there are 4 CVEs associated with this version of, another version of the WinRAR. Because of that, it's suggesting you to upgrade to this version. You can see exactly there are exposed devices. 9 out of 14 devices that have this device, they have this old version. You can see the exact list of these devices, and right away you can export them as a CSV file, and all of them with the detail will go there into the file for remediation. But let's say it's a large environment, you're working at an enterprise environment, and not necessarily your security admin or security officer is the actual admin who is going to upgrade these applications. Or maybe there is another associated requirements, like, for example, it's a big application and it needs some sort of compatibility to be fixed first before you can upgrade. So in those cases, what you do straight away from this stage, you can go and say on the remediation update, you can create a kind of an internal ticket from your security admin to your system or infrastructure admin. So this is specific account that I've used to log in doesn't have permission actually to submit that, but you can see that it picks up exact details of it. Your security officer can put details, okay, this is an issue, this application needs to be upgraded, and they can submit it. Once they submit that, that goes to the remediation history here. And then essentially, you will end up with a list of different remediations and their progress. So once they are submitted here, you can see, okay, nothing has happened. But over time, as your infra admin happens to upgrade and deploy those changes, this gets fixed and eventually it gets to a point that gets removed from your remediation. But sometimes you find that a recommendation cannot be even deployed at all. So in that case, you can go and add that as an exception, which what happens is then in your dashboard, those or exposure scores are not going to calculate and include that specific issue towards this final score. So basically, the TVM is very important because it's providing you with a real-time environment audit and tracks the status of each remediation. If you don't have such a tool, you have to rely on third-party vendors to come and audit your environment for potential risks and vulnerabilities and provide you with a report, which often they don't even have this level of details that we can see here. So you have to pay for that security audit by vendors. And in this case scenario, if your IT admins and infrastructure admins happen to rectify all those issues, you have to engage that third-party audit company yet again to run another test and another audit for you to give us new report to see if they have been rectified or not. But using this tool instead, you can eliminate all that and you can see everything in real time. Okay, so going back to the main dashboard here, we can see a view of organization endpoints and users. It has aggregated view of latest alerts, their severity, and when they have been observed in your environment. So you can see some of the alerts here, but all the alerts, they go to the alert queue. Alerts are actually a security-related incident collected from an organization endpoint. One interesting thing here to note is that the application does what it does. It runs actually an analytic and finds the correlation between all of these alerts and combines all of those together and shows them as an entity called incident here for you. For example, if there are 10 different alerts, all related to a single issue, instead of showing different notification, which your admin gets confused which one they have to actually manage or they have to investigate, it combines them all together and shows them as an incident. So let's pick one and look at the details. For example, we can see here that multi-stage incident involving initial access and persistence on one endpoint. Let's click on that and see what that is. So we can see here about 13 different alerts have been combined and basically captured by the system that they are somehow related and combined into this incident, and they have been actually even actioned and resolved. So here you're basically just investigating what has happened in your environment. And so you can see suspicious PowerShell command line was initiated. PowerShell dropped a suspicious file on one machine. If you click on that, you can see all the details related to that. And you can take action from there. For example, on this PowerShell dropping a suspicious file. Just waiting for this to load. Again, sorry for my slow internet here. We can see straight away that, okay, so this has been on this user, which is the HR director, and this is the computer name. This shows you the exact story and the history of that incident. So the user was using Office Word and opening a file. And from that file, all of a sudden, PowerShell has been initiated to run a suspicious file named intro_backdoor.exe. So this is a behavior that was not expected from a Word to do. That's why system has picked it up. You can, but in this case, because it's a demo, we can see the name is actually suspicious, but sometimes it's just a very random name and you don't really know if that's something harmful or malicious at all or not. So in those cases, what you do, you can simply click on a file and then there's a section right here which says open file page. That gives you information about those files. So here is where I said you can have visibility across the board, across your organization. So here you can see this specific file was being seen in one device in your organization and 2 devices worldwide. But if it was, for example, 20 different machines, it will show you them all here. You can go and do deep analysis on that. When you do that, it gets all the information that are stored in the database of Microsoft about these sort of files from the signature, not from the name of it, and gives you that. For example, you can see on your environment, this specific file try to access some sort of external IP address, which means basically some information, some of your organization information was being uploaded to external entity. So if it happens that this specific file, you can't find any communication for it, you can actually submit that for Microsoft analysis, and you will get that within a few minutes, what exactly this file does, if it's harmful or not, and so on. So again, let me just going back to the actual incident history. Okay, so as part of that, that was one activity which was prevented, but we can see also that the same file, suspicious activity on the scheduler, the same file was picked up as a task scheduler on the machine, was going to run that file ongoingly after that has been removed. So that's going to impose a significant risk for you because that's a recurrent thing. So basically, there are a lot of functionalities. I can't really show them all, but we have too many clients reaching out to us saying we had this incident in some machines or entry point on air, for example, Exchange server, where a hacker managed to get in, but they don't know exactly what harm has been done and how to reverse that and how to protect that further. But this tool is going to provide all of that for you, and you can even see that in a visual way to see exactly where the entry point was and how it got spread in your environment. You can see, so it was coming from your mail attachment, coming as a file into Lola's PC, and from there it got to PowerShell and to some registry points and infecting them. So I'm conscious of time. But you have many different features here. You have reports or web protection as well. So these days, people working at home, if you want, or if you have a requirement to restricting their web access to certain categories, you can do from this tool as well. But we haven't set it up here, so you won't see that. But essentially, you will see exactly what categories of the websites people have used. You can block, for example, gambling, so users cannot go to those websites because they may have some ransomware or advertisement which may be harmful for your machine.